Police and thieves in the street, scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition.
Let me start up in front by saying this is a case in which Max Felix was accused of a crime he, of course, claims he did not commit. From what I understand, he had rented a car for someone. That car was involved in a theft offense at a Burger King. At the same time, Max had rented another car for himself, and he was at a restaurant that evening. And he claims that his alibi is verified by the video in the restaurant. He also claims that a private investigator went to the restaurant and discovered that the police from Randolph had reviewed that tape, and they should have known that he was nowhere near the crime scene at the time, date and time in question. So he also claims that the officer involved lied about knowing him on prior occasion, because the officer said, "Oh, you presented a Georgia license from back in 2005, I think it was," and Mr. Felix claims, "No, I never had such a thing at that time. You're lying." So, and I certainly have known, as I mentioned in the email, as you'll see to the attorney for the defendants in the city of Randolph, I've certainly known cops to lie. And it's unfortunate when they do that because it stains things for everybody. But they do. And in this instance, I'm kind of leaning toward Mr. Felix's position. I can't see how potentially exculpatory evidence was not regarded well. If you could identify the man in the restaurant tape, then you know he wasn't where they claim he was. And if you didn't have any other proof that you knew him on prior occasion, you can't say at trial that you knew who he was on prior occasion.
How can I help you?
Yes, Christopher King for Bradford Lucen, please.
Just a minute. I'm sorry. You said Christopher King?
Yes.
Okay. Does he know what it's regarding?
No, he doesn't. Well, he may. I sent him an email earlier, and I'd like to get a recorded statement from him regarding the ongoing case of Max Felix versus the city of Randolph.
Okay, just a minute.
Hi there.
Hi, Attorney Lucen, is it?
Yes.
I didn't want to butcher your last name. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is Christopher King. I'm an independent journalist, former trial attorney, and I was calling to check up on a case. I met a guy named Max Felix years ago when I was in Quincy covering the Quincy road rage craziness that went down.
Yeah.
So I became intrigued by his story, and I wanted to call you to get a recorded statement, if you would, regarding the nature of the case as it sits now. I sent you an email a few hours ago and didn't know if you had a chance to digest that or where your client's position is on it.
Yes. Well, I mean, we have a case that's pending in the federal court, and we're going to mediation next week.
Okay. He did mention there was a mediation date at the end of the month, and so, I did have a series of questions. I don't know if you want to answer any of them individually, but basically his contention is that your client never met him before. And he says, I guess he makes two basic arguments. One, that he never had any association with Georgia at the time your client claims that he did, and that there was exculpatory evidence on a video of the C&J restaurant, I think it is, or JC restaurant, that your client reviewed but still maintained charges.
Okay, I understand that's his position, yeah.
Well, did your client...
I'm not really in a position that I'm going to discuss the claims and the defenses right now, though. Okay.
I can respect that. I'm just doing my due diligence as well, and I certainly understand your position.
Sure.
All right. Is there anything you'd like to comment before I close off the discussion, or?
No, that's all. I mean, it's just the case pending, as I say, and I'm not really interested in discussing the merits of his case or whatever. So
yeah,
that's okay. But I appreciate you calling. I read your website. It looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Where are you at? Where are you in? Out west?
I'm in Seattle. I used to be in Boston for years. I was on the East Coast for years out there, and I'm covering a couple of murder trials and whatnot out there as well. But yeah, I'm back east, and I have a handful of cases that I'm still working back on the East Coast as they come to fruition. Most notably, Daryl Jones's case up there in Brockton, and that's
What's
crazy.
that?
Daryl Jones is the guy. He's 30 years in. He's been in 30 years on a wrongful conviction. They butchered a tape from a prostitute who allegedly identified him in a photo array, and so that's coming to fruition now. And there's a motion for a new trial. The Innocence Project got involved, and I'm working on that one. And then there was a double homicide in Franconia with Lico Kenny. This is Bodie Miller's cousin that shot a cop up there. And this is our connection, somewhat tangentially, is that I spoke in Captain. Well, I guess he's now a police chief, but George McNeil. I spoke in George McNeil's class in Randolph years ago about this case, the Lico Kenny case when he shot this cop in Franconia, and that's crazy. I mean, oh my God, that case. I mean, I was a law enforcement attorney, man. And I hate to say when a cop needs to be shot, a cop needs to be shot. He was a dangerous, threatening man, and then the way they covered up everything and made Lico into this cold-blooded cop killer never sat well with me, and so I basically investigated the investigation.
Yeah.
And what I came up with was something far different, and from their own files.
Interesting. And what do you do with the material that you investigate?
Mostly I blog it, and my main function now is that I help homeowners settle second mortgages, okay? But out of my own interest that's still ongoing in the law, I blog it, and well, one of these, the Lico Kenny story and the Daryl Jones story, those are both potentially headed to Hollywood. So, yeah, I'd be a co-writer on both of those. But other than that, I just do it out of my own interest because it fascinates me. Yeah.
No, I know. I appreciate that, and I use this blogs and I read blogs. I just don't want to discuss the merits of this case, anyway, if you don't mind, what I mean?
If I were in your position, I'd say the same exact thing, most likely. So
I mean, you can if you go online. I mean, there's the motion for summary judgment, etc. It puts out everything, all that. You can get that on Pacer, I don't know, but
yeah, I'm on Pacer, and I'll definitely, to make a balanced story, I'll say what he has to say, and I'll say what your motion has to say, and I'll do a balanced story, and yeah, that's the way I roll, and
right.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, because we're right now I just want to see if we can we want to go to mediation, try to resolve it favorably for Max, and he's been a good we've had a good relationship, and we'll see what happens.
All right, counsel. I appreciate you taking the time.
Hey,
and
yeah, good talking to you. All right, good luck. And if you ever need anything out in Massachusetts, give me a call.
Indeed, brother. Indeed. Take care now.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. He's a good dude. I see. That's the kind of attorney I can work with. But when I call you with I say, look, I want to do a recorded statement, and you give me a hard time, and all this kind of stuff is just simply not necessary. I like this guy, and I hope that they settle the case favorably, and he, seems reasonable. Yes. Mr. Felix had issued a document. I forget what he called it. It was like a request for counsel to notify the police officer that he's going to be committing perjury on stand, and the court ignored that, and that's typically what courts do with those types of motions. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this, and I want to see what comes out, because I have spoken before in the city of Randolph. Lieutenant George McNeil had a class, and we spoke about the Lico Kenny, Craig Floyd, Bruce McKay shooting in Franconia, New Hampshire, that occurred 10 years ago to the date.